Okay. Awesome. All right, I'll call the meeting to order. First order of business is approval from the last meeting minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve the June 5th meeting minutes as presented.
I'll second that motion. All in favor?
Aye. We also have non-public on the 5th, so I'll make a motion to approve those minutes after the
Second.
get there.
All in favor?
Aye.
Is the safety thing on your on your man? What,
It is, but you can do it first.
you want to do that?
Sure.
All right. Get these back. We have a grant. Not an application,
An award.
an award.
Yes.
From the New Hampshire Department of Safety in the amount of $14,293. This grant funds our speed, DWI, and distracted driving, etc. details.
Correct.
So, it's all filled out. We need a certificate of vote showing that all required parties voted with the signature approval from all or the town manager, chairman of the board of selectmen, county commissioners, whatever, accepting this grant and showing the amount of the grant being awarded. So I will make a motion that this board authorize the town manager to accept the, what do they call it? Highway safety grant from the New Hampshire Department of Safety in the amount of $14,293.
Second.
Any discussion?
Do you both need to sign it? So do we need to give OJ the authority to sign on behalf of the board as well? Or is it one or the other?
I think it's one or the other.
Okay, yeah, fine,
That's what that implies.
Yeah.
Your name is here, so.
fine. No, I had just heard you say the chair of the board and that, so I just.
Yeah, from, all or the town manager, so.
Perfect.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
There you go, you're authorized to sign this.
Thank you, excellent.
The guys downstairs will be happy.
Good. All right, now we can move on to the town manager's report.
Okay, so Jason got back to me in regards to the business park deed restrictions.
Mhm.
He has weighed in, and according to Jason, the unsold lots actually aren't subject to anything yet. His initial thinking is to do two things. He said, include whatever restrictions we want moving forward with any of the deeds if we were to sell any of those lots. And then work with the current owners if they would like to draft essentially corrective deeds that would eliminate the restrictions or amend the restrictions that essentially no longer apply.
And we can do that without a town vote or anything, we just do it.
Yes,
We could just change all those deed restrictions and whatnot willy-nilly, however we feel.
well, the selectmen are technically in charge of all town property, buildings and land. So the selectmen, I think the vote that you took at town meeting, although it was probably extremely relevant and valuable at the time to see how the town felt about it, I think it was technically non-binding. Interesting.
Well, I think that's good news in that it allows us flexibility. I'm not gonna vote for anything without bringing this to a process of deliberation.
Sure.
First, I think that this board should come up with, if any, what changes we might want to suggest. I think that should go to the planning board, and then it should be open to public hearing. Now, whether that's a town meeting or just notify public, at least two public hearings on the issue. However we do it, the town needs to have a say in this. First of all, it's been, what, a 20-year issue? We're going back to 2005. Yeah. It actually started before that. That was the final
sure.
vote. So we're just, I don't think we're just gonna change it. But I see the options being laid out and, I don't know if we want to get the planning boards weigh in first, but this is something we could see if we could put on the agenda for Wednesday when we meet with the planning board, at least introduce the idea, not that we're gonna discuss it and have anything that night, but at least.
I would strongly suggest too that we meet with the two current owners there. And see if, they have their way, would there
Suggestions.
be any suggestions to change in the restrictions that they. Currently living under. Or operating businesses.
Right, because we would want all the restrictions to be identical, just for equity and fairness,
Exactly, exactly. And I think it's gonna open up a can of worms, but I think it needs to be opened up and dealt with as a town, and I think, one option is to look at the restrictions, see if we want to reword them, because it explicitly says no to things like, electricians or painters or contractors who use that as a staging office warehouse area and then go out in the field to work.
Who originally came up with those restrictions?
The town, I believe it was the Board of Selectmen back in that.
I would have to
that time.
imagine, yeah.
Was there a committee to investigate or business people?
I think it was the Board of Selectmen, but there was multiple discussions. If you go back and read the minutes, they talked about it being used by general contractors. Exactly what we're just talking about now, as a staging area, you keep your supplies,
Yeah.
you go out in the field to work.
they didn't want that.
And they did want that.
Oh, they did.
They did want that. That was one of the primary uses of the property. When it came to writing the restrictions, they were very concerned because at that time there was a lot of activity in the self-storage business. So they wanted to word it so that it couldn't be used for self-storage. Okay,
Gotcha.
the wording that they chose to prohibit self-storage also prohibited electricians, painters, plumbers, and contractors, because it said it has to be on site,
Yeah.
full-time employment on site. I don't know why that got written that way, but it did. I don't think it was their intention. But again, that's just my interpretation of an event that happened 20 years ago, and I don't, I wasn't there.
Right.
I talked to Deanna about it, who was there. But again, she wasn't dealing with it. It might have been mixed opinions there, just like on anything. So, first of all, I think that should be straightened out. Do we want to leave it the way they are? Do we want to change it to allow those types of businesses in there? And then the other option, of course, is do we want to change the whole thing and make a section of it, portion of that property, available for residential uses? And there's certainly pros and cons and some strong feelings about that. And again, I'm honestly fine with doing it, and I'm fine with not doing it, but I really want to know what people think. I think there'll be some people who are very excited about, putting in a big housing project, and those people be all fired up about not doing it and having it be for business. So, can we take the first step of introducing this whole idea to the planning board next week when we're there?
Yes.
Letting them weigh in on it. And then I think we should take their input, decide what we want to do, and then invite the public in for public hearings.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Can I suggest too that Karina reach out to the two current donors and ask for written input prior to that meeting of next week?
Okay, or invite them to give written input and invite them to come.
But give
So
them
Well, I
notice.
would invite them to the planning board meeting, because
We're just
think our
introducing-
intent is to have a big discussion, and
Right.
our intent is to introduce it.
All right, so if we get something in writing, then, okay,
Right.
here's the,
Yeah, because we don't really know what they want and what they don't want specifically, right? So we don't want to introduce ideas
we
and
go
have
to
the
the-
planning board think
Right.
that's the way we're leaning, or that's what we want, when we haven't
Right.
even really discussed.
Let's go to
the
the
board's
planning board and say,
intentions.
this is what we're talking about, what are your
Revising,
thoughts?
right.
And then we'll go to the current owners and say,
well,
what
You
are
know-
your thoughts?
I actually think that the current owners, just from the last meeting, they pay attention to the agendas and whatnot. I mean, I'll by all means reach out and let
The
them
reason
know.
I say that,
Yeah.
I'd rather see them have input from day one, rather than now say, oh, I had to live under these restrictions. Now I don't,
Right.
I'm gonna.
Oh, no, I definitely want their input, there's
Yeah,
no question. But I don't think we should, I don't think the intent is to get into a long discussion.
no.
It's just to,
But if we let them know, we're gonna just introduce it to the planning board. Then they're warned.
Right.
I don't even say warned, they're
Well,
invited
we can let them know
to participate.
what the town attorney has said. Be sure, ours, that conversation, just let them know that the first step for the board or the board of selectmen is to introduce the idea to the planning board, and then there'll be future discussions on what that looks like.
right,
I can do
perfect.
that. Yeah.
Right, can you ask Carol to get on the agenda for that meeting? And I think it's probably a busy agenda, but. Do we have anything on that agenda besides the master plan?
I
I think there is.
think there is.
I don't know what it is,
Don't know off the top of my head.
but I'm just thinking that we're just introducing it.
Right.
You know, we don't want to get into what people
meat and
feel
potato,
and, you know,
Right,
just. This is a topic that we're introducing. Reporting on the attorney's opinion. And they can schedule their meeting to talk about it at some other date. Yes.
At the last meeting, when we were talking about the Chenard decision, we wanted clarification on what the appeal deadlines were. And there is 10 days to file a motion to reconsider in Superior Court, and it's 30 days to file an appeal with the New Hampshire Supreme Court. So we passed the 10 days. There has been no motion to reconsider filed. So now we would just be waiting on the appeal. to
and what was the
Supreme
date of the decision?
I feel like it was the 11th, because I think it was last week that we were trying to get over the hump, the 12th. I can tell you.
June 2nd.
June 2nd was yes, so the 12th was the date, yep, so the 10 days, for
The
the
10 days are up, the 30 days are
are
not.
not correct. So we'll just wait on that and see what happens. Or come. The new energy efficient mixers and the aeration ponds will be installed this week. They started construction, or they started putting the filters or the mixers together today. So Ixiom will be here. They said it's going to take about 3 days for them to put everything together and install. And then once the mixers are in the lagoons, we'll need some electrical hookups. So we'll be waiting on an electrician to do that. But that project is moving forward. We already did the highway safety grant, so that's good. Last week, I had a couple discussions with Renell from Divine Millman, who is our bond counsel, and also with Tina from Union Bank. And in order to, we were trying to eliminate the need for essentially 4 bond opinions, right? For 2 for the construction loans.
Right, yeah.
And then 2 for the permanent financing. So Renell thinks and has agreed to move forward if we can have 2 notes and 2 lines of credit prepared, keeping the debt separate. But the remaining documents would cover the decision for both loans. And Union Bank has agreed to kind of combine the construction loan and the permanent financing into one note, where the construction loan will be for the first 12 months, and then it will automatically transition to the permanent financing.
Gotcha.
So we'll have essentially 2 separate loans with 2 different terms in each one. But it's going to save us a little bit of money, so we don't have to have a bond opinion
No, it makes sense.
on all 4 kind of different avenues we're going down.
So we'll just draw down on the construction loan until construction, and then go into the permanency with the bond issue after that.
You got it.
For the debt.
Perfect.
Yes. So if
Makes
the board is agreeable to that, I just told Tina that I wanted to touch base with you all before we got the paperwork drafted. But she said once I give her the green light, then they will get in contact with Renell and that ball will be rolling. So, yeah, let's do it.
That makes
Yeah.
perfect sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Loon Highland Games parking. So we've already received the annual request for use of the town lots for Highland Games. They will take place this year, September 15th to the 17th. They included Mansion Hill, the old airport lot, in with their request, but they also noted that they know that property is slated for construction. So I just wanted to bring that to the board's attention. I think it's kind of, I don't want to say time, it depends on the timetable of construction. I mean, if we get to September and we don't have a foundation in the ground and it's not going to happen until October, I don't personally see a reason to not allow them to do so, but I guess I just wanted your guidance or your opinion on that.
I mean, for right now, you're gonna have to tell them no.
Right.
However, you're right. If we get 2 weeks away or a month away, and then you can feel free to call them and say, look, we didn't get it done. You can have
Don't
it.
count on it.
Right.
What is-
Exactly.
What is the status of that land right now with the test pits that were dug? Is it flat and drivable, or did they leave?
Oh,
bumps and
yeah.
holes?
No, I think it's fine. The fire department had a training there last week.
Oh, okay,
On Wednesday. And we got the okay from the architects, prior to doing so, just making sure that we weren't gonna disturb anything. But yeah, I think it's,
Yeah, no, they filled the pits back.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
yeah,
as long as it's.
Yeah.
Drivable.
Yeah.
Then, again, the answer is no until
until.
we say yes.
and when we get closer, if we haven't,
Yeah.
if it hasn't, if we haven't done anything there by September, and you do give them permission to use it or whatever, just touch base with Nate first to make sure he's mowed or moved or whatever. Yeah. No, there's no pile of pipes in the middle hidden by grass. Because I know he does store
Some
dirt
stuff
and
on
stuff
there,
over
yeah,
there. Yeah.
No, we'll touch base with Nate. Good, that's easy. One thing I didn't have on my report, but I was notified by Nate this morning that all but 3 of the assessments that needed to be done at the South Peak Tank location have been completed, so we're only waiting on 3 reviews at this point, so we should, yes, so we should
Nice.
hopefully have approval in June, or everything will be completed for what we need to have approval in June, so we've told Weston Sampson that they could start moving a little bit more so in the kind of engineering side of things, because we think that ball is gonna drop relatively soon.
Excellent.
It's good.
Fantastic.
Excellent, yes. This is now out of date and irrelevant, but I did tell the planning board I'd bring it up. At the last planning board meeting, it was mentioned that in the past, the Forest Service in situations like this have entered into just land swaps. Where, the town or some entity gives them land in exchange for this piece of land. It was suggested to look into that, where the tank is going out of the Forest Service ownership and give them a
Piece of town land.
piece of
somewhere.
town, a piece of land somewhere else. And I said, that seems like a good idea, but
Kind of late for that now.
it's kind of, if they can get this done in July, we're never gonna do a land swap in a month.
No.
Especially because the land that the tank is on is owned by the Forest Service, but it's under license to Loon Mountain. So now we're gonna have
Right.
really
3 entities.
four entities, it'll be the town and South Peak and Loon and Forest Service. So there's no way that's gonna happen faster than the last 3 assessments.
No.
But I brought it up. Okay. Just for the record,
For future reference. Yeah.
and it is a good idea.
Absolutely.
Well, and going back to the bonds and kind of the bond financing, Nate also talked to me this morning about he would like, we just received, I haven't received a copy of it yet, but Nate was gonna forward it to me, a proposal from Weston Sampson for the water main upgrades. And Sam Kenny from Weston Sampson asked Nate if we could start maybe getting a surveyor on a surveyor's schedule, because we're gonna need to survey that whole land, and I told him to go, because I imagine you get this bond financing secured within the next 30 days, which I imagine we'll be able to do so. It's gonna take us a couple months, most likely, to get on a surveyor schedule to do that stretch of, Route 3.
Right.
So, I said, yeah, let's go. So we'll get, hopefully by the next meeting, you'll have a proposal from Weston and Sampson for the engineering work. And then, the surveyor will be on a surveyor schedule to get that piece,
Excellent.
covered. Because DOT is gonna, have a say in that as well. That's really all I have. I'm sorry, I've been kind of busy, but, we can announce too that we have, extended an offer to a new finance director, and she has accepted. Her name is Rebecca Farnsworth, and she will start on July 10th for us.
Fantastic.
Is nice.
Good
thing.
news. That's a great light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah, moving forward.
Excellent.
That's all I have today.
All right, and we still have a meeting next week. Correct, on Monday?
So next week, we have a meeting on Monday, just a regularly scheduled Board of Selectmen's meeting on Monday. We have,
What do we have on that agenda?
LBA, the architects are coming in.
Police station, yeah.
Yep, and they're gonna be here in person that day because they're meeting with the PD in the afternoon, later in the afternoon, so they'll be here in person. So that's on the agenda for Monday. Tuesday, we have the joint meeting with Woodstock that starts at 5 PM in Woodstock. And then Wednesday, we're gonna be busy. We have the planning board joint meeting that starts at 6 PM here. And I'm sure everybody already knows this, but tax bills did go up.
Yes.
Ew.
I'm sure you've gotten it in the mint. And if you haven't, please let us know. Because
No, I-
there's a problem.
All right, we said one thing, we had talked, last week about the, Forest Ridge land, the deed and the relevant agreement.
Yes,
Was a letter sent to the,
Jane has reached out, who's the realtor on that?
John and Russia?
Yes, was reaching out to John. She was putting the package together with the restrictions that were in place on the land and had emailed it.
Oh, she did?
Yeah.
That's okay.
Good.
Do you have anything?
I did, only one thing, graduation, Linwood graduation was. Yes, it was a week ago last Friday, so the 9th. Like 25, I think, graduates. Great ceremony. $60,000 worth of scholarships awarded for those kids. We have the best community here for kids. I mean, Marcus Corey, when in presenting his scholarship from the Encore scholarships, I mentioned that graduation only lasted about an hour because they had their slideshow and such the night before. And then that was also playing in the multipurpose room, so people could watch it also, but graduation was just the presentation of scholarships and salutatory and valedictorian speeches. So it was very nice, short, it was just barely over an hour, it was great. But he mentioned that those graduates are sitting up there earning $1,000 an hour. And that was pretty cool. I don't know, $1,000 a minute, $1,000 a minute sitting there for the hour, so. But yeah, just want to mention that. That's great community.
Awesome.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. That's all I have.
Jack?
Something that I had brought up before, safety issue about the bike path crossing up there. It's getting overgrown and really you can't see people come out onto 112. Even people that are walking, riding bikes, and most people will carry their bike across or push their bike across. But it is a dangerous situation. I try to sit every single day. And coming from east to west, it's difficult to see those folks. So
I did talk to Nate about it, and he actually thinks too that he thinks that a plow hit one of the signs too, because he thought there was another sign that's also missing as well. So he was gonna get some on order and just put it up and hope DOT thinks it's okay. I'm sure they will, but.
That reminded me, yeah.
And can we cut trees to make that more visible?
I don't know the answer to that question. I mean,
I hope so, because I've done a couple.
I was gonna say, I'm
radio, my
DOT is not going to reprimand us for removing trees, but I think, are we legally obligated to do so? I don't believe so. I think that's DOT's right away. I think that's the state right away. It's the state's responsibility, but I think
It's
it's
true, but that trail is ours, the town.
To maintain.
So we can cut trees back and make it clear all the way, the last 12 feet before they hit the highway. I mean,
that's what, I don't
just
think.
like a property owner on a state highway, you can, cut branch, you can't. Disrupt it, or what do you call it, dig, or,
Yeah.
but you can, put in lawns or flowers or.
Yeah, like I said, I don't think DOT is going to reprimand us from, for cleaning
Yeah.
up the signs.
Most people appreciate it.
Yeah.
I walk with that giant double stroller now, and I have a pair of lockers that call them. Sit right on that.
Yeah.
So I've been doing it all over town, so.
Yeah, no, I agree, I think that, if it's just a
I'll just have to
branch
launch
to
that
make
way.
it. more
Yeah, just a little bit more visible.
Right.
Yeah, but even notice,
Vegetation.
even noticing, because when you see the first sign, it's, I don't know, a couple hundred yards.
Sure.
or 100, so yeah, it's something even.
Yeah, and like I said, Nate said that he thought there was a sign closer at one point, he said, but he didn't
There's a
know. if
little
it was-
bike sign, it's no bigger than that.
Yeah.
Such bike crossing. But, yeah, I think it's something, safety of the local residents and any.
Agreed.
There's also some work that needs to be done on the bike path in general. There's some spots that have some washout and some broken pavement and pothole-ish.
Yeah, I had mentioned that to Nate
Yeah.
last week, I called, somebody called me on that.
Is that on
Lots.
his schedule?
It is on the
Okay.
schedule,
Yeah.
yeah. So we had talked about that last week, so he's aware and it's on his summer schedule.
The sign thing reminded me,
Mhm.
when I came and saw you right after our meeting 2 weeks ago. When you come in by, up by Indian Head, there's a sign, welcome to Lincoln, in front of,
Fox Motel.
yeah, yes. I was gonna say, printing, it's not a printing place. And then Wayside is another one. And then, up on the Kank, this is the third one. The one up on the Kank, it's funny, because I went and took pictures of them all. I was coming back from Brooklyn, so I took pictures of those and then went up there. And I'm like, what is wrong? There's nothing wrong with it. I took the picture, goes in the car. Then I made the picture bigger. I'm like, oh, that's what's wrong with it. I guess it got a couple of years ago, got hit by a car. And then a plow ran it over. And so it's been prettied up a little bit and they fixed the posts and it's there again. It has been for a couple of years, but the painting on the front of it is not pristine. Again, I looked at it and go, there's nothing wrong with the sign. Until I literally had to blow the picture up to figure it out. So I showed Corinne and I'm like, we don't want to replace the sign just for that, do we? And she's like, no, it looks fine. But I did want to make sure I mentioned it to you guys as well, that we both feel that when the sign needs to be replaced, then fix it, or when it needs to be refurbished, then do it.
Yeah, it's a slightly different image.
Yeah,
It's like the images aren't identical.
you can actually, I can show you.
I mean, if you have to blow it up in your phone, you know the difference.
I'm telling you.
People blowing by it at 60 miles an hour, they're not gonna notice. So I'm
It's
good with,
definitely a different, it's not, like I said, it's not an identical picture, like, put them side by side. they're
Okay,
not
here.
identical, but it's not.
This is the one on
not
Wayside.
deteriorating.
That's the one on Wayside. See, it's fine. See the picture? You
Yeah.
can see everything's good.
yeah,
And then this is the one up there.
Little different view.
it's a different, but it's not
But it's not.
better or worse.
Right.
No, right.
It's got the train. in
Okay.
it, but-
Yeah,
There's
that's lighter and,
Yeah, and then this is the one up by Parker's.
oh, that's the best one.
Well, this one gets no sunlight on it, because it's the other way.
Oh, that's
This-
true.
This one's south facing, gets direct sunlight on it.
Okay.
And this one got hit by a plow. So. I think it's fine, honestly. I mean, the rest of the sign looks fine. It's, okay.
It's certainly not worth
Just-
money. It's
I just feel weird making that decision by myself without bringing it to you.
Well, yeah, and if the sign was deteriorating, if the posts were,
Right.
you know, falling apart and rotten,
But
then
it's
it'd be a
fine.
different story, but, just aesthetically, you know, to change it so they're all identical, I think it's not a good use of time. You know, because it's not gonna be cheap either. You know, it's not-
Signs are not
car, yeah, those are, what
Signs are not
it's
cheap.
gonna be.
Right.
Gonna,
Yeah, that's being fiscally responsible.
Compared to some of the flags that still remain.
Right. And some signs.
And I know we got new ones, and the new ones look
the new
great.
ones, yeah,
The 1-year-old ones look good. The,
However, the one in front of Calvin Grant's house, I know we
Is-
probably don't have one to replace it. Can we just take it down? It's
where is it?
horrible.
Red Fox, no, yeah, just.
Yeah,
north of
no, on
Fox.
Calvin. It's right by Bog Brook Road.
And then there's another one in that stretch that looks horrible.
I only noticed that one.
Maybe it's just that one.
Just take it down.
Yeah, just take it
I
down.
think we only need,
The ones that are, I
it
know.
makes
have
us
a
need
schedule.
7 more, and then everyone will be completed and we're on a new rotation, we'll go back.
Right,
Um,
right.
um,
And if we stay on that rotation, and I realize we're doing a piecemeal to keep the cost down, and that's great, but just take it down.
just take it down.
Yeah, that was really, and if he knows of any others that are just bad, just this year, let's just get rid of it till we can replace it next year, please.
That we can do.
Thank you. I noticed that one too. Stuck out with so fun.
You do anything else?
No, sir.
All right, then I'll do, public participation. Is there anybody,
Michael?
like Whedon?
Nope.
Do you have anything in non-public?
Um,
I don't know if anything has changed. since last time.
we will have a very brief personnel. meeting.
Personnel?
Yes.
Okay. Then I'll make a motion to go into non-public to discuss the personnel issue.
Second.
All those in favor? Thank you all for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you, Michael.
It's almost like,
Take care,
like
Wayne.
it's